Well, here we are at gardenville.tv and we're going to be planting an apple tree. Now, I don't know about you and apple trees, but I love apple trees and I want to learn what different types of apple trees we have on the market, etc. So do follow us about planting an apple tree, because this is actually not as straightforward as you would think. Susan, what's going on here?
Okay, we've got Katja here, or Katy, lovely red apple, early-ish in the season. Things you've got to remember, planting apple trees, you're going to need two and they're going to have to pollinate each other, so they have to flower at the same time. But mostly when you're buying them, it'll tell you on the label what other varieties to buy. The other thing is the rootstock. Now there are varying types of rootstocks. There's M9s, which are the most dwarf, M26 is the next, and these are MM106 we're planting here, which is sort of semi-dwarf, will give you about 10 to 12 feet of height.
Which is your sort of average tree.
Yeah, I mean it depends. If you've got a very tiny garden, you'd use an M9 or something, but you can always train them on a wall as well to keep them contained.
Okay, so what are we doing here, Susan, with the tree to get it into the right position?
Well, we're getting it here. Here you've got it grafted down here, so you want the soil to come just to cover the roots here. So if you hold, I put the stake in, so staking it low down.
And what can I do with you here now?
Now, we want it, there's my ground level, so that's where my roots are. So
now,
as
Susan,
you take it out, I'm going to put a bit more soil in the bottom of the hole first.
Susan, a girl from Devon contacted us about planting her apple trees, and she was worried about how far the apple tree should actually go into the ground.
Well, this is what I'm watching out here. So any tree, you plant it so that where the roots come out, what's known as the roots come out, that you plant to there.
Oh, right, okay, so that's straightforward. There's your question answered for you. You're just literally just a tiny bit above where the root area comes out from the tree. Well, that's straightforward enough. Somebody like me who has absolutely no idea about planting trees.
If you plant them too deeply, you actually smother the thing.
Oh, I never knew that now. I don't know about anybody watching this clip, whether they've had problems. You've had problems planting your own trees. Do contact us at Gardenville, because we do a lot of planting of various types of trees, from fruit trees to your regular garden trees to screening trees, etc. Now, Susan, you're packing this up here.
I'm packing this up. I've got a mixture of lovely well-rotted horse manure here.
This is horse manure.
This is horse manure and topsoil.
And I wonder, Susan, can you tell me, can you use other types of manure with this?
Well, well-rotted cow manure, either sort of shake this up to get the soil between the roots.
So you're shaking that so that this...
Yeah, just so the coil settles down in amongst the roots.
Okay.
So any well-rotted manure will do fine, but it must be well-rotted, not fresh.
Because of acidity, is that right? I think I'm learning something with Susan.
I'm just going to tip this in.
If you've got nice photographs of trees that you've actually planted, we'd love to see them. Do send photos to us at Gardenville, because we'll upload these onto our site, onto Facebook, etc. Keep in contact with us.
Looking like the hands.
And of course, you don't stand on that, Susan. Why don't you stand on that?
Well, I will in a minute now.
Okay, see all the worms. There's loads of worms in this.
Great, that's the manure bringing the worms now.
And the manure does that, does it?
Yeah, worms like manure and things, and they like good fertile loose soil. Anything that's hard and compacted they don't like.
And that's nearly basically it now, isn't it, Susan?
Now, if you don't want to make as much of a mess of the lawn as I've made, you can always put a bit of plastic or something on.
Oh, plastic around to put your... okay.
Now I probably need to top this up a little bit, but next thing I'm going to do is tie the tie on, which involves taking off the gloves.
My nice boots dirty. That doesn't suit my image at all. So there's a tip when you're out in the garden now, bring out your old boots, not the good boots.
Yeah, well, you see, you know who's going to do the work around here, that's the thing.
She's very mean to me.
So, it's a figure of 8 tie here.
Okay, so this is a plastic tie we're putting in here.
I want to get this through.
Yeah.
Here.
I must
What am I
say,
doing here?
there's nothing nicer than coming out and pulling off a freshly grown apple in your garden. It really is fabulous. And I'm sure you watching this video clip, you're looking to do something the same. And if this does happen for you, please do send us a photograph. We'd love to see it.
Right, I want to be, should be up higher on that. You can actually take off these lower little branches here. You really only need here. I'm going to put the tie above this. Of course, I will put it in first.
Well, this is what happens, isn't it, when you're doing your own gardening at home, where it's not as straightforward as you think.
Now, it's always important to get the tie at the top of the stake, because if you don't and the tree moves, it actually rubs and you damage the bark, which is not a good idea.
Okay. Not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
I presume that means that the tree is open to disease,
Well,
etc.
it's open to diseases,
Yeah.
and the actual nutrients go up and down just behind the bark. So if you damage it, you're sort of
Oh, right.
cutting off some of the food supply. There we are.
So
There's our tree.
there's our apple tree, and we are looking forward to getting some delicious apples from this. If you'd like to contact us at gardenville.tv to learn more about planting trees,
Yeah,
etc.
the other thing I'm going to get you to remember is doesn't need it now because we're in the winter and there's no actual leaves or anything on this, but when it comes to the early spring, sort of April time, don't forget to watch out for water, especially a freshly planted tree. A good soak every 10 days, 2 weeks, depending on what the weather is, just to get it going.
Great. Well, I have to say I'm delighted with my tree, and I'm sure you'll be as delighted too if you go out and plant an apple tree in the garden. And by next year, will we have some apples, Susan? How long will this take?
A couple of years before you're having a really good crop.
Okay.
In some ways, in the first year, you should nearly take the apples off so it's not expending its energy producing fruit. Let it establish a bit, but
I'm not
I know
sure
you won't, so eat away.
I
There's
want
no
to
point
eat
in
them.
telling you not to.
So anyway, if you'd like to give us some information about your apple trees, we'd love to hear from you at gardenville.tv. You can join us on Facebook, Twitter. Please do www.gardenville.tv. It's fantastic, Susan, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, just a little